Weilà raga, how's it going everybody? Hope this video all finds you guys doing great today. I would say about 95% of the time when I try to make up a word, I manage in getting it right. I succeed in getting it right. 5% of the time I don't. Just a quick little note, when I say I manage, I never usually say that in English, but my vocabulary has changed immensely since speaking Italian and also now French. The reason why I say I manage, I mean it works in English, maybe I just wouldn't have used it when I was younger, is because I'm also thinking in Italian ci riesco. Ci riesco means I manage or I succeed. So let's take a look at a couple phrases, because what do we do in that 5% of the time when we're wrong, we're trying to create a word, we just don't know how to say it, or maybe we just want to take a look at a couple of phrases that we can use to help the process along, instead of just saying something and getting kind of that look where it's like, what did you say? Like for example, I tried to make up a word in French, Indementicabile, which sounds really, really French, but apparently it's not. The word is inoubliable, which means unforgettable. That's what I was trying to say, because in Italian we say Indementicabile, and a lot of the time what I do is just take an Italian word, put on a French accent, and hope that it's right. Yet again, 95% of the time I get it right. Even when I'm making up a word in Italian, I get it right, but there's that 5% of the time when I am dead wrong, and with that, I was dead wrong. But anyway, here are some phrases that we can use. For example, let's say you say to somebody, che vuol dire? Now, che vuol dire means, what does it mean? So if I said to you, che vuol dire parlare in inglese? Or just, you wouldn't even say that. You would just say, che vuol dire parlare? What does parlare mean? Or, che significa parlare? What does parlare mean? They mean exactly the same thing. Che significa is literally like saying, what is the significance? What is the meaning of the word? Che vuol dire is like saying, well, what does it want to say? Literally. Yet again, they just both mean, what does it mean? Now, if you have a really, really keen eye, you'll take a look at vuol in the phrase che vuol dire, and you'll be like, what happened to the E? Well, sometimes, especially in common expressions, in Italian, we do eliminate the last letter of some verbs. Usually not when it's conjugated, like volere into vuole, but this is a common expression and it just happens. 100% of the time people say che vuol dire and not che vuole dire. It sounds really weird. I'm sure you can find somebody who says it, but che vuol dire is the phrase. Now, what I was actually trying to get at when I made that mistake is come si dice parlare in inglese, which is another phrase. So, come si dice means, how do you say? So, che vuol dire, che significa, there are variants of these, che or cosa significa, you can decide. They mean, what does it mean? Come si dice means, how do you say it, or how do you say? Literally, come si dice means, how does one say? Si is something called the impersonal si in Italian, aka the general you. You know, like when I say to somebody, how do you say? I'm not literally asking you, how do you say? I'm saying, how do you in general say something? Well, in Italian, to avoid saying, well, how do you in general, or using words like that, they just created the pronoun si in this situation. It does not mean yes. It could refer to he, she, it, or they in some cases, like if we're talking about reflexive verbs, but in this situation, it refers to you. Or, how does one say? Just giving you the background on this. This is extra information. If it's over your head or if it's just not making sense, don't stress out about it. If you're talking about how do you say multiple things, similar to the whole piacere world, you'll say come si dicono. So I could say, come si dicono queste parole? So how are these words said? That's basically the idea behind it. Here's something though that I want to point out for all of my Italian friends that are watching, per tutti i miei amici italiani che stanno guardando. Just be careful, state attento. Be careful, state attento, or pay attention to, pay close attention to. State attento con la traduzione di che vuol dire in inglese, perché le parole devono essere invertiti. Words need to be inverted. A little side note, something you will always notice about translating into Italian and even into other languages, they always tend to use the proper word for something. I can't think on the spot because I'm translating into 2 different languages. When I edit, I'll know what I'm trying to say, but you have to invert the words. You need to change the order, change the place, the position of the words. But what I'm trying to say is they always use the more formal word. It's just the way that it is in these languages. So in English, you need to invert the words. That's right, it's proper, but sometimes they can sound a little formal. I guess it depends on your interpretation of it, right? But in Italian, you're always going to use the more formal words. So le parole devono essere invertiti, o invertite. Le parole devono essere invertite. Sì, perché si usa l'ausiliare essere. Comunque, so the words need to be inverted. Non si dice in inglese, what does it mean parlare, for example. Che vuol dire parlare? What does it mean parlare? Questo non si può dire in inglese. Si capisce ma non si dice. Si deve dire invece, what does it mean? Con mean alla fine. Sarebbe in italiano, anche se è sbagliato, ma solo per spiegare questo concetto meglio, o in un modo migliore, che questa cosa vuol dire. Ok? Che questa cosa vuol dire è come noi diciamo, è come noi parliamo in inglese. What does this thing mean? Noi parliamo così. What does this thing mean? What does it mean? Noi diciamo molto velocemente. What does it mean? Così. What does it mean? So let's take a look at some other phrases. For example, non so come si dice. Non so come si dice in italiano. I don't know how you say it. I don't know how you say it in Italian. Penso si dice così. I think you say it like this. Penso si dice così. I wonder if technically you should be using the congiuntivo here. Penso si dica così. It just sounds really weird. I think I say that a couple times. You may have seen it in my videos, but because no one says it, I would just tell you to say penso si dice così, even though technically speaking you probably need the congiuntivo here. But that's a topic for a different video. You could also say penso si scrive così. I think you write it this way. Penso si scrive così. Here's an important word that you guys may need or it may come across in conversation sometimes. Fraintendere or fraintendere. Probably needs a more open E. Sometimes I tend to tighten my E's a little too much. Fraintendere. It probably should just be fraintendere. Fraintendere means to misinterpret or to misunderstand. So you might hear somebody saying può essere frainteso. Può essere frainteso, which means it could be misinterpreted, it could be misunderstood. It's a pretty useful phrase. I haven't seen too many people explain this in their Learn Italian videos or in textbooks, so like always, I thought I'd share it with you guys. So anyway, guys, that is everything for today's video. Thanks so much, like always, for tuning in and checking this video out. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something new. Be sure to leave your thoughts and comments down below in the comments section. And like always, something that I always say to my students, but I don't always say here on my channel, whenever you learn something new in another language, I have a 2 to 3 person rule, if you can find that many people, especially native speakers or just other people that are familiar with the language. Always ask about 2 to 3 people. Whenever you learn something new and you're not too sure how to use, like when you first learned it, maybe it wasn't too clear if you should be using it in this same context that wasn't explained in that resource, for example. So maybe you might find yourself in a situation where you want to use one of these expressions that I just taught you, but in a different context, and you want to know if it works. Try not only to ask me, for example, like in the comment section, but try to ask other people, other Italians, other people that are good at Italian or English if that's the language that you're studying. That way you can be sure you get a nice well-rounded approach. Like whenever I learn something new, or if I'm ever corrected especially, that's usually whenever I do this. If somebody corrects my Italian or they correct my French, I never rely on the knowledge of one person. Because sometimes it's just that person's perception of what I'm saying, or maybe it's their experience, or maybe it's the region that they live in. So always take that 2 to 3 person rule into count. Thanks again, once again, guys, for watching this video. Always remember to spread the love, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Ciao, ciao!